Hi, I'm Sean, and you're watching Shopworx. On this episode of the 6-door build, I'm going to be working away on the engine compartment here, doing brass fittings, plumbing in some stuff, reworking my injector line, be able to accommodate the airbox for the turbo, and just in general, piecing more of this thing together. So, it's early in the morning, it's 4:20, couldn't sleep. It's Father's Day, so just throwing that out there. Wishing you all a happy Father's Day if that applies. So let's get at her. Well guys, I'm trying to fit this 6-door in where I can here, so bear with me. There's going to be some other videos and stuff. Working on some equipment I need to have put out on some jobs and things like that. So between my regular work and fixing stuff I need for work, this thing's kind of taking a back burner. You know, stick with it. There's going to be right till completion on it. I want to get her done. I'm going to be doing some other Ford stuff as well. All kinds of projects around here, trucks, equipment, etc. So a lot of fab work, a lot of welding, painting, customizing, you know, all the good stuff. So stay tuned and see what we got. Oh, this thing in place here now. A guy can go and start putting the rest of the accessories on here. Maybe like putting just a little layer of gasket maker on these. Well, with that on, I can test fit this bracketry here and start figuring out how I want to do the rest of this here. I got the bracket built, basically just a piece of flat bar welded on, and mounted my fuel filter and coolant filter to it. Hopefully that'll work out. It's kind of hard mocking stuff up when you don't know how everything's fitting here yet. Found a couple other slight issues I got to rectify as well. The other problem I got to rectify is the cylinder number 2 line here. It's different between the turbo and the non-turbo. You got a spot for it to bend up and back down. My problem is it goes straight across, so something to watch further on when you're swapping stuff. They got to get a different line, bend that line or something. That'll be on my list of things to figure out. Worst part is it goes on the bottom of the injector pump at the back there, so you gotta rip half that stuff apart to even get to it. So just like that, yeah, figure something out. Not sure with my AC line yet, but I want to make sure I have enough clearance I can get in here, work on this stuff, as well as leave room for everything to come off the turbo. So that's mocked up. I can continue building on outside here. Figure out where all my bolts and stuff went and keep building. Keep piecing it together. Start figuring some plumbing out as well. We'll build the accessories on now. I figured better throw the alternator bracket on here, make sure things are gonna fit right, and apparently my plan to put the fuel pump up here is going to be a no-go. Come up with a different idea. One thing at a time. Put the bracket on for the power steering pump and air conditioning. Another one on. Instead of the vacuum pump going up here after, I can put just an idler. And the bolts are going in aluminum over here. I want to put some Penetrox on it. Basically antioxidant. I remember pulling these out. It was a nightmare. They're all corroded in. Really hoping I wasn't going to take the threads out, so preventative. Other thing out of the truck and on the truck. So what I'm doing here is putting a coolant filter on. This stuff should compress. It's not really tightened up or anything yet. Just been mocking it up with parts and pieces here. And doing a fuel filter right over here. Again, everything's loose right now. Okay, all kinds of parts and pieces, just trying to make it work. Trick I'm doing with the coolant filter here is I'm trying to get it up higher than everything else so I can not lose the coolant when I drain it. Hence, in the high spot of the whole unit there, you're going to have the air bleed on top. So technically, once it's fired up running, I should be able to open it up, drain the air out of the system. The water pump will pressurize it. So, and same with the fuel. Got to have a high spot for the air to bleed as well. So that's what I got going on there with a small fortune in brass. And what I'll do once I get everything mocked up here, I usually take a Sharpie and I mark lines on it, and then I can take it off and pre-assemble a bunch of the stuff. You know, I can only assemble so much of it. Other things like this valve here, I can't screw, so I'll have to assemble the valve on the T and then thread the T in to make it work. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I've also been working on the fuel rail here, mocking things up, going with brass fittings and hose on all that stuff. Got to pull all these lines apart and change out the high pressure rail, or high pressure line, to injector number 2 there. Again, hose fitting or return off the injector pump to the rail. I got to tie the rail to the rail, and then off the back I have to have the return line back to the tank. You're going to have to pull the alternator and bracket I got the filters on here to be able to put this plug in the rail here.
This rail's got a plug on the back because of the turbo. There's literally no space. I don't know if you can see or not. And I'll have the front plugged here, which kind of sucks being the high spot, but it is what it is. I guess I could always put a Schrader on there, a 90 and a Schrader or something like that too, and be able to have a bleed on that. Maybe I should check that out. Never thought of that. Maybe not. We'll see. What I'm doing here, putting tensioner back on the idler pulley. Got new pulleys for them. Getting rid of the vacuum pump and go with a little electric just to run the heater controls. Got the hydro boost on for the brakes up top there a while back. So I'll be putting this on. I got a earlier video of me of building one for Power Stroke, and lo and behold the bolt patterns line up. So I built a couple extra, so we're golden there. So I guess we'll start marking and tweaking and all that other good stuff here in a bit. So what I've done here, this is a injector pump from Pick and Pull. I pulled a couple of years back in anticipation of this project there. I needed the cover for the oil fill. That's where I stole it from, was this one here. I also wanted a core if I got to send one back. I don't have to pull it off a so-called running engine. So what I did here, I pulled the back piece off this. It's got your regular IDI line feeding it, and I don't really want to go that way. I'm going to have enough fun doing what I'm doing. So I went and stuck a 1/8" pipe tap in there. It had a male-female 1/8", threaded it in a couple of turns that I could get in it, and then I just soldered it up. So I've converted it from whatever O-ring fitting it is into 1/8". I can put a 5/16 or 3/8 hose barb in there, I guess 3/8 hose barb, and we'll be off to the races. So you can see the line here, how it's dished down, comes up into the neck. And on the other setup, I don't know if this is a 7.3 thing. I know I took it off a truck. I don't know whether it was a turbo or not at the time. A lot of the parts were missing on it. Surprised the injection pump was still there. But so you see how it's got the gooseneck in it here, and the same line coming up here does not have the gooseneck. That's my problem, is I need that gooseneck drop down in here to be able to mount the air filter housing in.
Well, like I say, I'm just gonna mark these up. That should make it for what we need to do there. A lot of that stuff isn't, doesn't really matter where it ends up with the hose barbs and whatnot. It's more the orientation of the valves and anything that's not centered. So a lot of this stuff should go together pretty good now. We'll be putting dope on it, and I'll probably start with all the little plugs and pieces. Well, the worst part is I probably got 2 smaller cans of this pipe dope. Can't find them though, so we will be using the big one. I always like starting with the plugs, because sometimes you can't get in after if you're spinning stuff around, and then you know you don't miss one either. Take some time. Yeah, fuel pump. So from up to the fuel pump up to the filter, through the filter, out into here. This will feed to the injection pump, and this will have the obstruction sensor for the filter on it for your pressure, and bleeder obviously for bleeding air out. Well guys, I got the fuel filter one put together here now, so at this point you can either take lacquer thinner and wash off all the marks, or what I'm going to do a little later, I'm probably going to spray it black so it looks a little less obtrusive here. And that's the way it fits. Well, start on the next one here, I guess. Coolant filter. It's a bypass design. Start with the plugs again. Ugh. One thing I hate about it. We're not talking a 10mm wrench here. I lost the crescent. Oh, there's the thunder. Well guys, I've got the fuel filter buttoned up, I got the coolant filter buttoned up. I'm going to have to pull the alternator bracket back off, as well as that bracket back off to get that plug in or whatever I'm going to do there. Same with that. I'm going to pull the injector lines once I have this all off, and then we'll get around to putting everything back on the front here. So like I was saying, with the lacquer thinner, the lines come right off. But I'll be painting these later anyway. Try to make it blend in. I really want that coolant filter in there, so I got it sort of set up as a bypass. So the coolant's going to come out of the block. There's a port down below, up into here. Up here it's going to divert partially through the 3/8 port there into the filter. I've got 1/2 inch NPT fittings all the way through here back to my 5/8 barb. So in the summertime I can shut off the heat going to my heater core for max AC in here. I got a lot to try to cool, so I'm going to be going that way with it. Through the heater core, back out of the heater core, come through here. It's also coming through the filter, back out, and it all comes in, sucks into the water pump. So that's the way it's going to be, I guess. Clean her up and try to make the best out of it. Makes it a little easier having that extra 4 inches in here to be able to plumb stuff. Otherwise I'd be monkeying over and up and through and around and using, wait for it. There we go. She's thunder and raining all morning here so far.
It's, what is it now? I'm going to watch. Almost 7 in the morning, so it's been raining all night, been thundering, lightning, couldn't sleep, so I decided to get at her. Alright. Not sure if you guys can tell how much it's raining out here, but it just won't stop. I think it was Wednesday last week there, we had 3.74 inches of rain. I don't know about today yet, but I'll check the rain gauge after, but he's just coming. Well, I guess while it's dumping outside, might as well keep working in here. Nice and dry for the time being. Just gonna get my crew cab repaired from all the hail damage there. The shop's busy, so it's hard to get stuff in and out. I've had my 450 in and out a couple times. They put a new hood on it, sprayed it, and did some PDR, and we got to send her back in again for all the stuff they couldn't PDR. I guess they're gonna sand it and shoot it. So all said and done, that's what she looks like there. I'll probably paint it while it's off, set it on the welding table, and away we go. Well, what I've been having is a lot of fun with these rails, return rails from R&D. I think they're going to be fantastic once I get them all set up here. They're all billet and done nice. I've been having a hard time getting the threads to start here with their machining. I don't know if it's just a bad dud or what, but a little chase with a grease covered tap and they take right off. So not sure what my issue is exactly there. Heck, for all I know, could be operator error. I have a heck of a time starting this 1/8 inch stuff. So anyway, what I've got going here is obviously the return from the tank's going to be on the back. I'm going to use a crossover, route the hose in underneath the air box back over to the other side here, plumb the two together. And obviously this port here, ooh, that's close. And yeah, this port here is going to come up and into the IP here. And then I still have to put the port in the back for the fuel coming into the injection pump and change this line here. I think it just barely wants to grab that thread. So just chase her again. You got an 1/8 inch pipe tap. Put a little grease on her. Keep any chips from going in there. Worked quite well on the other ones I had to do on here. You know, there's a lot of stuff in this shop. It's hard to work, but it's kind of nice having all the parts and pieces and tools you need to do stuff here. So sacrifices, one thing for another, I guess. Can't wait to expand her out a bit. Feel like the top start's okay. But I'm barely taking anything off too in the grease. And like I say, I don't know, some little machining error between the plugs or this or something. Like I say, there's like minimal. You can just see a little bit of aluminum in there, and that's it. But it's enough to stop it. So is what it is. Working and obviously conquer it. Had a lot of tougher issues to fix than that.
Funny thing is these side ones worked okay, so I don't know. Test her out now. Starts beautifully. I wonder. We'll see if I can find a 90. Put a 90 on it first, then I can come off it after if I need something else from behind that bracket. Well, I didn't want to have you guys all listening to me talk to this damn thing. But I managed to get it out without pulling all the other lines. It was a little fun. I hopefully can get it back together the same way. I don't know or not whether I will or won't, but I found this crowfoot, 12-point crowfoot in there, and I was able to just tap on it with a punch and get it to unscrew instead of having to pull all the lines everywhere and take the pump off, anything like that. So don't know what the right procedure is, but I believe I recall everybody else having removed their lines as an assembly and take them all out. So I'm glad I saved myself some trouble there. So that line is supposed to be the same as that line. That's what we're taking out, is that bump. Obviously I can't get this back in there exactly, but that's where it's supposed to be. I'll loosen it off here. I'm also going to take the hold downs here because I know it's designed for this style of system. Ooh, a roosty. And now we should be able to do a actual comparison of them. Anyway, the one I need. If I can get this started without throwing any words around that I shouldn't. No, this isn't looking good. Well, after many choice words, I was able to get it back together. Needed to use the claw. Let's just say a lot more than once. And it's going to tighten up the clamp here, and I guess I should suck that down first too. Keep losing my tools. Figured it was easier to get the one done up good on that IP instead first. Looky there, it actually fits now. That's fantastic. Another problem solved. Well, since I'm all excited, let's just see. Yeah, time I get it all put on there, it should be pretty darn close. Golden. Deadly. Well, now that I got that done, I guess I know it all fits. I can start plumbing some of this 5/16 return line together here before I build everything else back out here. Make it easier to reach through. Well, being a return line, doesn't really matter what you use. These things will burn just about anything. Just put some WD on here so I can get a good push. So what I'm doing is tucking it over, the crossover, underneath that air box. It'll bolt down here, so we should be good there. I think I have lots of room coming up here already, so that should be good as well. That solves my side to side. Need one up on the injection pump here. Wish I had a taller tripod. Loop these two together, and then it's just the return back to the tank down there. These things will slide right on. There. Which I may or may not be able to do now. I lost the O-ring for the boss here. Took it off. I was going to get a new one. You can see I just soldered it up there and put a 90 in off the back here, and we're back onto the hose to the filter. If I can get a nice push lock one. I'll leave this out for now until I find that stuff, but you get the idea. Old engine enamel, same stuff I used on the block there. And make it look a little less tacky anyway. Oop, missed a spot. The other fittings I'll probably leave for a little bit to unmask. for that idler pulley for the vacuum pump. I made in one of the other videos, fits my 7.3 Power Stroke as well. The same bolt pattern. Kind of nice when you can reuse stuff from one to another. Design it for one and it fits a bunch. Heavy duty idler pulley for it. Alright. One of these. The right one to there. We've also got a new pulley here for the tensioner itself, and so you guys know it is left-handed thread. Don't make the same mistake I did before. Oh, that's got that as far as the serpentine belt stuff, I think. This hose, changing them all. Multiple reasons. One, nothing fits with the body lift anymore. Number two, this one's seen better days, and this one here broke off on the power steering pump. So, out with the old and in with the new after I clean it up. Work, I guess. And that one in, other than on the pump, but I'll play with that in a little bit here. Figure out how I want to bend that in after. We'll start with the heater hoses next. Tight. So ahead of time I took the liberty to size these. There also is an in and an out on the heater core. Supposedly an in and an out on it, so I don't know if that really makes a big difference or not. I was chasing down another issue I had with another truck, so that's what I was wondering. And I swapped the lines around at some point when I did some work on it, but it wasn't the problem, but it was still something I was aware of after, so figured I'd share that with you guys. I had to change my original routing because it didn't have enough play for the engine to move around there. There, just like that. I got the antifreeze coming out there, up, doing the bypass through the filter, also going through the heater core, and then back into the water pump. So, now I have a question for you guys. Now my question is that enough play on a tensioner? I'm going to say probably not. You can see the marks here. I don't know if you can see it in there or not, but is that enough play in the belt tensioning system? If I take it off, it swings back to the mark here, which is marked here, I guess. See if I got a Sharpie. Thanks, bud. That's my mark I have here. That's where it's sitting there. And these are my other two marks. So that's tensioner maxed right out. And that's where it's sitting there, and that's, if I take the pressure, take the belt right off it, it goes back. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, guys, but kind of wondering whether I should go for a larger belt or not. Or I don't know. I've broken belts before having them too tight. With all my different hydraulic pumps and things like that I've done over the years. I've kind of tried to set it more in the middle. So weigh in on that, let me know. Found one size belt that's another half-inch longer, I believe, so might be worth a try. So I went ahead and mounted a faucet fuel pump, and got my line pre-filtered, 74 micron, comes up through the pump, going to be into this filter here, it's a 10 micron, and got a spot for a water separator. Looks kind of good, and see if there's air bubbles going either way here. And just got to finish putting this one on. That's about all I can do until I get an O-ring for that. So as far as I'm concerned now, the fuel's pretty much done, other than from outlet of the filter to the injector pump, and then from the return rail down to the hard line that goes towards the tank there. So that's looking pretty good. Now for a totally unrelated question here. Which gauge pot should I be going with here? I've got 4 going up the A-pillar over here. I got 3 going up on the roof in the console, and then over here I need 1 more gauge minimum. So I was thinking about putting a 3 in, and I use those other fillers I popped out of that center console and put something else in it, or just plug them for now. But I was looking at it, and I think 3 fits pretty nice. And the 2 just looks funny, and if I just put the 1 on there, I think it'd look worse even yet. So what do you guys think? Go with the 3? Have a couple unused holes and find something to fill them with later? To me, it looks like it almost fits the space. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Well, guys, that's all the time I've been able to throw at it here this weekend. So I'd like to thank you for watching, and we'll get back at it here again. It's supposed to rain this week, so I'm not sure how much stuff outside I'll be working on, but if it's raining too hard, I'll probably be able to get at this thing. So if you don't mind, like and subscribing. Helps people find this channel, and we'll keep at her. Have a good one.